I've been looking for an alternative to Mary Ellen's Best Press and Faultless Spray Starch for a while now, and I think, hopefully, I have finally found a good one. A couple weeks ago, I got several different recommendations for alternatives, and one of them was Magic Premium Quilting and Crafting Spray, which is a mouthful, so I'm just going to call it Magic from now on. I saw this in a vendor booth at a quilt show, and I was like, oh, that is one of the ones that was recommended to me, so I picked up this little tiny tester bottle, and I think it's going to solve several problems. So first of all, Mary Ellen's is great. It works really well, but it makes me cough whenever I use it. It used to be certain scents would make me cough. Now it's every scent. It used to be that it only made me cough when I ironed it, but now just the scent of it in the bottle makes me cough. So that's a problem. Also, you can see that it is a colored liquid, which stains sometimes. I've only had it happen a couple times, but it's still very distressing. And it was both times it was on solid fabrics. So it makes me wonder if on pattern fabrics it also stains. I just don't see it. Like, I wouldn't notice it in this because there's so much going on. But on solid fabric, it's very, very noticeable. Faultless Spray Starch is really good. I recommend it. It works perfectly. However, sometimes it leaves little flakes when I use too much of it. As I get used to it, that happens less and less. I do like how it smells. It smells really nice. But my main gripe with it is that it just runs out so fast. It's great, but it's here and it's gone immediately, it feels like. And this one, however, first of all, it is scentless. It has no dyes. You can buy it in really big bulk sizes like this, so hopefully you wouldn't run out super fast. And if you zoom in here, fragrance-free and flake-free. So basically, it covers all the bases. It gets rid of all of the cons of both of these combined. So I'm very, very hopeful. I'm going to run a couple tests to see how it stacks up head to head. For my very first test, I sprayed each of these pieces of fabric until they were absolutely dripping wet with Best Press, Faultless, and then the Magic Spray. And then I set them to dry flat in my bathtub to see how they each responded to that. So first of all, here is my control fabric, unpressed. It's very floppy. It's very bendy. So that's with nothing in it right out of the scrap bin. Now here is Best Press. It has a little bit of a flop, but it's not nearly as bendy. It's like resisting the bendiness. It has a noticeably stiffer texture. And let's do a bias test. There's a little bit of stretch on the bias, but not as much as this one. I don't know if you can see that on camera. See that stretch? Then the Faultless, this was dried flat, but it has a curve to it. So it kind of curled as it was drying. And I think this might be the stiffest one. It has a much stiffer feel than this one. And it has like no stretch on the bias. Just barely any. And then the Magic one, it feels closer to the Faultless than it does to the Best Press. Let's see the bias stretch. Very little. And it also doesn't flop over. So I think it stacks up pretty well. It's pretty comparable to all of these. And it didn't make me cough, and it doesn't smell like anything. For my second test, I did a light spray and then I ironed it dry, and that's how I usually use these sprays. I don't usually do the drip dry method. And I did the Mary Ellen's off camera because I didn't want you to have to hear me cough with it. But it does have a noticeable texture difference than the unsprayed fabric, but it's not quite as thick. Although I don't really feel too much of a difference between the heavy coating and the lighter spray in the Best Press. But it's still better than nothing, I think. Then the Faultless, again, has a stiffer feel than the Best Press. It is noticeably softer than the heavily sprayed one. But this is how I generally like my fabric to be. This is my favorite so far. And I haven't sprayed with the Magic yet because I wanted you to see that on camera. For the Magic, I'm actually going to spray 2 swatches. So this is a flat swatch, and then this one has a noticeable crease in it. And I have never been super happy with the way that Best Press presses out creases, so I wanted to see if the Magic does that better too. Okay, so I've got my tiny little spritzer, and this little bottle actually has a really nice even mist. Oh, and that's another thing that sort of bothers me about the Faultless spray can. It sometimes just leaves splotches. It doesn't leave a nice even misting. So I appreciate that in this tiny little bottle. So get this evenly covered and give it time just to spread out in the fabric a little bit. Saturate every little fiber. And then I'll get my iron involved. There's absolutely no scent. It's really nice. I used to really like how scented the Mary Ellen's was, but it just started making me cough so bad. And it looks like that crease pressed right out. That's really nice. No crease at all. That worked really well. That wasn't quite like the crease that you get in the middle of a yardage cut. So I'll have to see later on how that compares. But that looks really good. That is a great result. And you know what? It feels closer to the spray starch, the Faultless Spray Starch, than it does to the Best Press. It feels a little stiffer than the Best Press Light Spray. So this is a huge win for me. It covers all the bases. I haven't found any cons for it. It has solved all of the cons that I had with the other two sprays. Let me know in the comments section if there's another test that I should do to compare the 3 sprays. But, I mean, this one is looking pretty good to me. I'm going to buy one of the big jugs. Thanks for spending time with me today, quilters. If you want to support this channel and help me buy supplies and materials for future videos, please visit my Buy Me a Coffee page linked in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss upcoming videos. And I'll see you again real soon. Bye!